Our story begins with an elderly couple, John and Mary, who decide it's time to schedule their regular doctor's visit. The air is filled with a sense of routine and a touch of apprehension. They've done this many times before, but each time presents its own unique challenges. The phone call is made, an appointment is set. The receptionist on the other end of the line presents them with two options. They can either prepare their medical history the traditional way, on paper forms, or they can opt for the modern electronic method using an online system sent to them by the clinic. Each option carries its own set of pros and cons. The paper method is familiar but can be tedious, requiring them to fill out the same information for every provider they see. The electronic method, while efficient, might seem daunting with its newness. As they hang up the phone, they look at each other, understanding the task ahead. The journey to their doctor's appointment has just begun. John and Mary decide to split the task. John takes the traditional route, opting for the paper method. John's journey begins with the hunt for his reading glasses. He rummages through drawers, checks the top of the fridge, and finally, he finds them perched atop his head. A small chuckle escapes him as he shakes his head at his own forgetfulness. With glasses now in place, John faces his next challenge, digging out old medical records. They're stashed away in various corners of the house, hidden in dusty folders and old shoeboxes. He pulls out file after file, straining to recall dates of surgeries, names of medications, and other minute details of his medical history. Now, the real chore begins. John settles into his worn armchair, a stack of forms teetering on the side table. The task at hand is daunting. He begins to fill out each form, his hand cramping as he painstakingly writes down every detail. The process is monotonous, repetitive, and utterly draining. The background music mirrors his frustration. A slow, somber melody that underscores the tedious nature of his task. Each tick of the clock, each scratch of his pen against the paper, seems to echo in the room, serving as a constant reminder of the time and effort this process is consuming. And the worst part? This isn't a one-time ordeal. Every time John visits a new healthcare provider, he has to go through this paper chase all over again. It's a never-ending cycle, a carousel of paperwork that seems to spin faster with each passing year. Finally, after what feels like an eternity, John puts down his pen. He rubs his tired eyes, his shoulders sagging under the weight of the task he's just completed. He looks at the stack of filled-out forms with a sense of accomplishment, but it's overshadowed by exhaustion. The paper chase has left him feeling drained and overwhelmed. As John puts down his pen, he sighs heavily. The paper chase has left him feeling drained and overwhelmed. Meanwhile, Mary decides to embrace the modern electronic method. As she sits down at her computer, she's not confronted with a mountain of paperwork. Instead, she's greeted by a simple, user-friendly interface, a gateway into the world of electronic medical records. Mary starts by entering her basic information, her name, date of birth, address, a task that's essentially identical to John's paper form filling. But here's where the similarities end. Mary is able to fill out her medical history just once. The system stores this information, making it readily available to any healthcare provider she visits in the future. Gone are the days of repeating the same details again and again. With a few clicks, she can update her records anytime there's a change in her health status. And with each click, Mary is saving her energy for more important things, like spending quality time with her grandchildren or finally starting that knitting project she's been planning. As she navigates through the online forms, she finds that the questions are designed to be clear and concise. The system even provides helpful hints and explanations, ensuring she understands each query before she answers. Mary is also able to schedule appointments, communicate with her healthcare providers, and even access educational resources about her health conditions. All this from the comfort of her home, without having to deal with the frustration of physical paperwork or the hassle of multiple phone calls. The background music shifts to a more upbeat tempo, reflecting the ease and efficiency of the electronic method. The digital revolution is not just about technology, it's about making life easier, more efficient, and less stressful. Mary feels empowered, in control of her health information. Mary finishes with a satisfied smile. The digital revolution has made her preparation a breeze. She looks forward to her doctor's visit, knowing that she's well prepared, and that her medical history is at her fingertips, ready to be shared with her healthcare provider. This is the power of the digital revolution in healthcare, transforming the patient experience from a daunting task into a manageable, even enjoyable process. As they finish their tasks, John and Mary compare their experiences. John, who has been filling out his medical history on paper, is visibly tired. His brows are furrowed with frustration, his hand aching from writing. The process has been time-consuming and mentally taxing. Every line of the form has required a deep dive into his memories, trying to recall dates, symptoms, and treatments. He's had to repeat this process for every single provider, a tedious repetition that seems endless. In addition, he's had to navigate through a maze of medical jargon, making the task even more daunting. On the other hand, Mary, who has been using the electronic medical record system, looks relaxed and confident. She's had the luxury of time, being able to fill out her medical history at her own pace, without the pressure of completing it all in one sitting. The process was straightforward, with clear instructions and prompts guiding her every step of the way. She didn't need to remember every detail, the system did that for her. She could easily revisit and revise her entries, ensuring accuracy and completeness. Moreover, Mary didn't need to repeat the process for every provider. The system ensured that her details were shared with all her healthcare professionals. This not only saved her time, but also ensured that her medical history was consistent across the board. And best of all, the system provided explanations for medical terms, making it easier for her to understand and fill out her history. The contrast between John and Mary's experiences couldn't be starker. John's journey was riddled with stress, confusion, and fatigue, while Mary's was smooth, efficient, and empowering. The electronic method clearly has numerous advantages over the paper method. It saves time, reduces stress, ensures accuracy, and facilitates understanding. It's clear to see the modern electronic method has made Mary's preparation much easier. The day of the appointment arrives. John and Mary prepare to see the doctor. As the morning sun peeks through the blinds, John and Mary are up and about, a mix of anticipation and nervousness in the air. It's not their first rodeo, but every visit to the doctor stirs up a familiar unease. They've done their part, filled out their forms, yet a nagging worry lingers. John, clutching his neatly folded stack of papers, can't shake off the feeling that he's forgotten something. He's spent hours, days even, poring over each question, each detail of his medical history. The paper forms have seen him through countless cups of coffee and furrowed brows. He's been down this road many times, and each time he's had to start from scratch, rewriting his life's medical story for every new doctor. It's a tedious process, and one that leaves him second-guessing himself. On the other hand, Mary, with her electronic records, is the picture of confidence. She's filled out her medical history once, and it's been available to every doctor she's seen since then. No need for the frantic last-minute checking, no fear of forgotten details. She's confident that her records are accurate and up-to-date. She's embraced the digital revolution, trading in the pen and paper for a more streamlined, efficient process. As they sit in the waiting room, the difference in their demeanors is palpable. John, with his paper forms, is a bundle of nerves, while Mary, with her electronic records, is calm and composed. It's a waiting game now, a race against the clock until their names are called. The air is thick with anticipation. Time seems to have a way of slowing down in these moments. The tick-tock of the clock is the only sound that cuts through the silence. Each second that passes feels like an eternity. And then, the moment of truth arrives. The doctor's door swings open and their names are called. They exchange a glance, a silent understanding passing between them. They've done their part, now it's time to face the music. As the doctor's door opens, they look at each other, ready to face whatever comes next. As they step into the doctor's office, the journey they've taken to get here hangs in the air. It's been quite a ride, hasn't it? From the initial phone call, through the paper chase of manually recording their medical histories, to the digital revolution of electronic medical records, they've navigated a sea of change, and it hasn't been smooth sailing. The paper process was tedious, time-consuming, and frustratingly repetitive. Jotting down the same information for each healthcare provider felt like an endless loop. Then, they embraced the digital world, swapping their pens for keyboards. The electronic method streamlined the process, but it wasn't without its own challenges. Now, here they are, standing on the precipice of a new experience. The tension is palpable as they prepare to see the doctor, their past, present, and future health neatly packaged in digital form. The doctor's door closes behind them, leaving us wondering what will happen when the doctor sees their medical histories.